What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a good Friday. Let's get into it tonight. Please hit the like button as you come on in. Say what's up when you get in the chat. Say, talk through some things on what I'm doing, and then maybe you talk through a little bit about what you guys like. It's a big slate, so there's lots of options, lots of good hitting weather all across the place. Lots of interesting pitching options, both in the low and high end. If you want to try and spend down to try and play the Dodgers or Atlanta, to some extent, Toronto. There's options down there, and there's options at the top. So here's what I'm going to get into. First of all, I'm going to say what's up to 150 to K9. MJ, let's go. Let's get it going. I know I'm on a cold streak as well, but it's sort of gotten a little bit evened out a little bit. Let's see what else we got here. It's so hot. Where are you? 150. Let's see. Rich has got likes the 3-2-2. Atlanta, San Diego, Seattle. That's interesting for a big slate to play a 3-2-2. I'm not doing much of that myself, but I support you in that endeavor. I like getting different, so I'm okay with that. Bobby Miller, I like as a pitching option. I don't have him on FanDuel, but I think, let me just see how many lineups it would take for me to get to him before I did play him on FanDuel. Let's see, where are we at? Probably about 10 or so before I got to him on FanDuel. I prefer Gausman, Wheeler, Scherzer, Webb. I actually think McClanahan is an interesting tournament play, as is Logan Gilbert and Giolito, although I'm not really getting much of them, but I do think they're interesting. And then Bobby Miller and Mackenzie Gore. Bobby Miller would go next, and then Mackenzie Gore probably, if you weren't going to try to spend down for Cutter Crawford, because we've got some real pitch concerns for how much he's even going to, how deep he's going to go. But at the same time, we've seen the upside, so I'm willing to embrace it. Just seeing if there's anybody else on FanDuel that I might have missed here. Doesn't look like it. So anyway, so on FanDuel, what I'm doing is I'm stacking the Dodgers, Cleveland for value. There's some cheap bats like Toro, which makes Milwaukee a little bit more appealing. But Atlanta, the Dodgers, Cleveland, and Milwaukee. On DraftKings, I like Atlanta the best. Again, they're just hard to get to. The value stack is clearly Minnesota, but I am getting to some Brady Singer on the other side. So I'm playing sort of both sides of that one. And I like the Dodgers. I mean, again, Dodgers, the favorite in order would be Atlanta on DraftKings. Atlanta, probably you get into Cleveland and Minnesota for value, along with Colorado, Oakland for value, actually. The Dodgers and Seattle. But the Dodgers, Seattle, Atlanta are more my core stacks using the other guys more as complementary, although I do have 5-mans of some of them because I am max entering that little $3 thing. And that's just where I'm at. So going by positions, and again, ask questions, fire on in thoughts. I'll go through everything. Pitcher, I'm using a ton of Bobby Miller. I'm just going to take a look at my exposures. For those of you guys who are premium members, you've seen my exposures pretty much today. My highest exposed pitcher is probably Bobby Miller on DraftKings. Again, trying to get those Atlanta guys in. All of Atlanta is where most of my money is going, but not necessarily where my highest ownership percentages are. Gausman actually has my highest ownership on DK at 32%. And then I got a lot of the Minnesota guys for value, the Seattle guys for value. And then we get into the Dodgers and Braves again. I also like the Colorado stack today. I made sure to get like 10 to 15. I think I got maybe 12% of them in the max entry thing. And then I have the Cleveland. All right. So Bobby Miller, Kevin Gausman, Max Scherzer, Cutter Crawford. Those being my favorite pitchers. I am getting into some of the weird JP Sears, Brady Singer stuff. And I am just forcing in some builds with McClanahan for upside at no ownership, even though I think that it's a risky. Same thing with Christian Javier. That's sort of my main pitching pool. But I have some Garrett Cole too. I have some Mackenzie Gore. I've got some of everybody. I've got some of 14 guys because of the size of the slate. And I am doing a lot of weird spend downs to try to play Atlanta and the Dodgers. All right, catchers, who I'm using the most of. As of right now, we have the Murphys, Tom and Sean, both prevalent throughout my lineups. So they would be my most owned, along with Will Smith. And then you get Kyle Raleigh, the other, assuming that he's in the lineup tonight. And both Contrerases strongly in play as well, and Bo Naylor and Cleveland stacks. You guys sort of know the way the rest of this runs. First base, Matt Olson, CJ Cron, Kirilloff, and Freddie Freeman as my favorites. Second base, Albies, Julien, Mookie Betts, where you play in the outfield, obviously, as well. But those are my main ones at second base. Jimenez being another one. Third base, Eugenio Suarez, Willie Castro in those Minnesota stacks, Max Muncy. Trying to see who else I have here. Pretty heavy on those guys. Really have a lot of Eugenio Suarez. Some Manny Machado, some Michael Garcia, some Jose Ramirez would be the other spend-up one. Shortstop, Arcia and Brave stacks, Correa and Minnesota stacks, or even alone. Kike Hernandez, assuming that he's in the lineup, and Dodger stacks. And those would be my favorite shortstops. Crawford, Bobby Witt, Tovar, Lindor. That's sort of the order of which I'm playing them. Outfield, all the Braves outfielders starting with Acuna. The Dodgers outfielders starting with JD Martinez, using Mookie mostly at second. The Teoscar Hernandez is a value for Seattle. Julio Rodriguez is a pay up for Seattle. Rooker for Oakland. Kepler. What's the other one I want to use for Minnesota? Wallner. As a spend up, I like Yelich also. And that's mainly my outfield. Just the Braves, Dodgers, Twins, or with a little bit of A's is sort of my general outfield look. So that's what I've got. Hey, 150 is playing 40%. I'm not going to argue if you play 40% of a Bobby. We don't have very many of us out there. Usually it's like a little kid's name, and everybody changes as they get older. So those people who've stuck with the Bobbies, go for it. All right, let's take a look. You got some interesting things. Chicago's got the nasty heat. I've got some friends in Chicago, some who live there and some who are visiting right now, and they were saying the same thing. But hey, you'll take it over the. I guess you'll take it over like the negative 10-degree winters. Any love for Seattle? Yep, I do have love for Seattle, as I mentioned. I'm actually pretty high on them. So I'm getting to a fair bit of them for sure. Wish we had the stadium roof open and it was 100 degrees and the ball just be flying out of there, but we don't. But you're giving me a bad lefty against a team that historically has guys who are good against lefties and they're cheap. I'm going to take advantage of it. So I'm in that. Logan Webb is not even a get weird play. I think it's a very totally viable play. It's the coldest game on the slate. You have the Boston on the road. I think that's very, very viable. It looks like the Dodger lineup came out, and I can't even tell who's hitting eighth because it's whited out here. Looks like I'm going to probably have to do some adjusting because I don't think we have Kike Hernandez in the lineup today. And Chris Taylor seventh, Med Rosario batting fifth. JD Will, Buki, Muncy's batting sixth. Interesting. Still like the Dodger stack. I'm in on Seattle. I've said it a few times. I hope you heard it, K9, because I definitely am in on Seattle. Let's see what else we got. Guys, drop in any other questions and thoughts. The weather, look. So the weather, I was going to play more Grayson Rodriguez, Aaron Judge coming back in, the weather being good hitting weather, and being certainly like it looks like there's going to be a delay at some point anyway. I just think it's a little riskier. I think I would take the gamble with Cutter Crawford instead. That's what I'm planning to do. Cleveland, Chicago. I'm not going to fade any of it, but I do worry about it. Again, it's Cleveland is so cheap. I think it's worth the gamble, but doing it in the big buy-ins, maybe you could avoid it because of that. That would be the only thing I could say about it. And everything else, I think we should be fine. Everything has got great hitting weather across everything. I'm playing a bunch of different stack types. So I have 65% five mans. 25% of those are 5-3s. 25% are 5-2s, and 10% are 5-1-1-1. I'm sorry, 15% 5-1-1-1. Then I'm playing 25% of between 4-4s and 4-3s, and then 10% of some other weirdness for 2-2, 3-3-2, that kind of thing. But just 10% of that. So that's my stack types for the day. Good question there, Clay. All right, guys, keep asking anything else in. I think I gave away pretty much exactly what I'm doing. For those of you who are premium members, I did update my some of my main hand-built lineups recently, and I also have posted my exposures as of earlier in the day. I'll try to get another one out before we get locked, but I'm about to have to make a ton of changes when you max enter the $3 and you've got a ton of guys who are just not in the lineup. I'm going to have to definitely make some changes now that the Dodger lineup's out. I'm trying to find out. Let me just go to MLB.com and see if I can get an official lineup from them. Okay. 27th, 28th. One more day. All right, let's see what we've got for the Dodgers. It is Kike batting 8th. Never mind. Okay, I'm fine with that then. Kike and Rojas. So what you're going to see from the Dodgers is the second that Cincinnati brings in a righty, you're going to see now Kike and Chris Taylor are both better defensive players, but you're going to see Outman probably at some point. You're probably going to see Peralta, and you might see Hayward at some point with all these guys. Dodgers are just become super deep. That's the one fear about stacking the Dodgers going forward is you're going to have a lot of pinch hits. Just what's happening. Am I playing the Cubs? No, I don't have any Cubs stacks that I know of. Did one squeak through? I don't think so. It is good hitting weather, but like, why would I be stacking against Jordan Montgomery, who just, even when he gets hit, it's like never quite enough to ever win a slate. But sure, the Cubs are, a good offense, and you could take a shot. I certainly wouldn't, I didn't intentionally cross them out, but I'm definitely not trying to get to them. You have some cheap options in there that make the stack pretty easy to get to. So I think that I can see why you would get to the Cubs, but they're definitely not a priority of mine. There's just a lot of other stacks I like better. But yeah, I certainly can't argue with it. I can't argue with the Cubs or the Cardinals, to be honest with you. That game is 100 degrees in St. Louis. Really, really hard not to want to play some of it. So I'm totally good with that. They're one of the teams that were on the outside looking in for me personally. But yeah, so I'm certainly a good enough hitting weather game where you can go ahead and target it. I also didn't get to any Padres who I think are kind of interesting, but I just didn't get to it. I have it in a few in the max entry, but not in any of my main builds. And I'm really looking at I'm really doing what I feel best about on these slates, and that's stacking the offenses that I think are going to go the most nuts. And I think the Dodgers, Braves rate that way for me. And I like the pieces with Seattle, Minnesota, etc. Seattle's been good to me this year. All right. So what else? And Scott McCarty just asked a question in Discord, like, would you play Smiley at all in case they just use Wisniewski as an opener? You don't do that on 15, on whatever, however many games we have today, 12, 13 games or 14 games, 14 games slate. You just don't do that. There's no reason to think he's going to pitch at all. If he happens to, you need everything to go perfectly, and it's a terrible situation matchup-wise for him. So I would not be trying to play Smiley. I just got him out of all of my builds, including the $3 build. So that's where I'm at. All right, what else have we got here? It looks like things are kind of drying up, which will give me some time. Let's see. Can you see Sony having a bad game? Oh, Sonny, and the Royals becoming good value or no? The Royals are fine. Like I'm not stacking against Sonny Gray either. Like there's just so many good stacks on this slate. I don't see why take a bad offense against a good pitcher. But it's 100 degrees there with 13-mile-an-hour winds blowing out. So I'm not gonna. I wouldn't like. I have some. I accidentally SaberSim gave me some lineups, and I'm totally cool with just rolling out a few of the KC stacks in the smaller buy end. But I'm certainly not trying to target them against Sonny Gray. For what it's worth, I'm just going to take a quick look at Sonny Gray's history against these guys. Because interestingly, like if this game was like in the 70s, I feel like he would have been a lot more in consideration. But it's 100 degrees. It's hard to it's rough. But yeah, he's been pretty good against them in short. It hasn't been that much, not that much experience against them, but certainly nothing that would make you want to play Kansas City. But I am going to still keep a little bit of my Kansas City options open because I think that they are viable. All right. And I don't, the thing is, it's not like the Royals are like Minnesota's better value than the Royals are. They're a better team too. So you have like guys like Furman. Yeah, you could totally play Furman at his price. Bobby Witt, you can always play. Perez and Melendez at this price. So I get it. I get how it builds that for you. I just don't personally like it that much. Any Ohtani tonight, there's never a right. You should never say no. Like, just if you get Ohtani, play him. I'm not trying to get him. I'm not going out of my way to do it at all. It just seems weird to try to do it against the best pitcher on the slate. But can Ohtani hit a home run against the guy who just gave up 4 in his last start? Yeah, Ohtani is in. It's weird that Gausman doesn't give up a ton of home runs. He gave up 4 solo home runs his last start, still have 20 fantasy points. Ohtani's always an awesome play. Is the answer to that question? Like, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter who's playing, who's pitching, anything. You can always feel good about playing Ohtani. I would feel totally fine with that. Anyway, thanks to all you guys. Please hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. If you're a premium member, I'll answer any of their questions. And we'll get to that. Yeah. Anyway, I'll get to any other questions in Discord. Good luck, everybody, tonight, and have a wonderful weekend. I'm sure Sheets and these guys will have you all covered through the weekend. I will be back on Monday. I might pop in for a minute to say what's up on the weekend in the Discord, or maybe even do a quick 5 minutes if I end up playing, but I don't think I'm going to. So that's where I'm at. Anyway, good luck to everybody tonight. Let's get it, and we'll see you guys at the top of the league.